It is a disappointment for this July 4th holiday weekend. 57,000 jobs is the total, and we saw last month's 172,000 revised down to 129,000, so a net revision of negative 74 over the 2 months. Change in private payrolls, 49,000. The forecast was for 107, and that was 120,000 the month before, and it's been revised down to 97,000. Manufacturing payrolls up a week, 3,000, but that's what was forecast. The average hourly earnings come in at 3/10, which bumps up the average hourly earnings on a year-over-year basis to 3.5%, still below the level of inflation, but it is a move in the right direction, I guess you could say. Average weekly hours, 34.3, same as in May and same as forecast. The unemployment rate, though, drops to 4.2% from 4.3%. That's about what the Fed thinks the natural rate of unemployment is. So overall, they're going to look at that instead of the job creation numbers and say that the labor market looks pretty steady. Participation rate 61.5 drops from 61.8. We also got one other number today that nobody's going to care about, and that is the initial jobless claims. They come in at 215,000, down 1,000 from last month's revised 216,000.
When I saw the absolute insane tweet that President Trump put out about destroying a civilization, I came straight back to the Capitol to try to demand what the American people have been asking for, because they are livid right now about this war that is being fought in their name, at their expense, but without their say. So I came back here and I went to the Pentagon. I asked for a briefing about this war, and the answer I got was no. They're not just saying no to me, they're saying no to the American people. They're saying you don't deserve to know what is happening with this war. And I just want to convey just how livid the American people are right now when we see this, because the urgency that the people that I work for have expressed to me is not being felt or seen by Republican leadership here. Where is the urgency of Republican leadership here at the Capitol when our country is at war? These are serious times, and we have an unserious president and White House leading this country into this level of chaos that is beyond anything I ever imagined that I would see.
Americans are struggling to get by. Gas is at $4.55 nationally, $5.65 in Hawaii. Food prices are rising at the fastest rate in years. Electricity is through the roof. Millions of people are losing health care. Hospitals are closing. Housing is unaffordable for many people. And everything from clothing to electronics costs more because of the tariffs. And what the Republicans are telling the American people now is not that there's not enough money. There is enough money, apparently, for a ballroom. Apparently, there is enough money to quadruple the size of ICE. Apparently, there is enough money to spend $1 billion a day on a regime change war of choice. There is enough money. What they are telling you is that there's no money for you as an American. And that's what we're fighting against. What they are telling you is that they want to enrich their friends and do escapades in Cuba and Venezuela and Iran and everywhere except your community, your kitchen table, your family. And that's why we're all so united in fighting this ridiculous proposition.
350,000 black women lost their job in the first 6 months of this year. But they talk about, oh, the unemployment rate ticked up a little, but it doubled, almost doubled for black people. What DEI was about black women who'd achieved a certain amount being taken from their jobs at one time. DEI has never done to America what GCI did. GCI is greedy, corrupt, incompetent white men. They talk about these things in an abstract concept, and if you look at the fact that black women are the most educated segment of our society, white men are the most uneducated. This was bound to happen. And the fact that there were a lot of black men and Latin men who helped this happen is something it's hard for me to reconcile.
You know what's really concerning to me is that, he didn't like the jobs report.
Right.
The one that he had touted before when it was in his favor, right? Trump didn't like the jobs report. And so then he fired the head.
The U.S. just lost 92,000 jobs in a month. Economists expected 60,000 jobs to be added, but instead employers cut nearly every sector. Restaurants lost 30,000 jobs, healthcare lost 28,000, factories have now cut jobs in 14 of the last 15 months. Right, and unemployment jumped to 4.4%, and then it gets worse. The government also revised December and January numbers down by another 69,000 jobs that never actually existed. And this after last year, the economy averaged just 15,000 jobs a month under Trump's tariff chaos. So January looked like a rebound, but February killed that hope. One economist even called it a knockdown blow. You have companies not hiring because they don't know what's coming next. The war with Iran's spiking fuel costs, the tariffs keep changing, and AI is making employers wonder if they even need new workers. And now you've got the Fed meeting March 17th, and they're split between cutting rates to save the job market and keeping them high to fight inflation, which the war is going to make worse. So ultimately, the economy is stuck, and nobody seems to have a plan to unstick it. But hey, let me know your thoughts and reactions in those comments. Share to spread the word, and follow to stay in the loop.
What's up, America? AI is now the #1 reason people are losing their jobs. So job numbers in March were not looking too good, with about 60 to 80,000 jobs cut in the month of March. But out of all of those jobs that were cut, a majority came from AI taking people's jobs. Approximately 80% of those jobs that were lost to computerized robotics and artificial intelligence. This now means that the #1 reason people are being fired from their jobs is not being inept or companies going out of business, but companies switching to AI so that they don't have to pay you. The largest job losses in AI come from the tech sector, but the transportation sector is #2. Almost 25,000 jobs in the transportation sector were lost due to AI. That should freak you out. This means overall, AI will become the #1 reason your jobs are starting to be taken from you, and it started March 2026. Now, I told you guys last year that this would ramp up between 2026 and 2028, and that's what's happening, starting now. So month after month, more of your jobs will be taken because of AI, not just being shitty at your job.
17,000 Americans lost their jobs this morning. The White House's response? A 60-minute video of Trump saying, "winning on a loop." Here's everything that collapsed while that video played. Spirit Airlines is officially bankrupt. Gone. The administration held a press conference and blamed Joe Biden, who left office 16 months ago. The actual cause, a jet fuel price spike driven directly by Trump's ongoing war in Iran, was never mentioned. Not once. And that war, it's not going the way they're telling you. Bloomberg and Dropsite both confirmed this week that Iran is still loading crude oil onto tankers inside the Persian Gulf. Iran pulled old storage ships out of retirement to stockpile oil and keep production running. Pakistan opened land corridors so Iran can reroute exports completely around the blockade. Analysts estimate Iran still holds up to 22 days of storage capacity. Iran predicted this blockade, prepared for it months in advance, and is now successfully working around it in real time. 61% of Americans now call the Iran war a mistake. That's Iraq war territory. That's Vietnam-level opposition. Now here's where it gets dangerous. A senior Iranian MP speaking publicly in Islamabad this week issued a direct warning. If the United States conducts assassinations inside Iran, Tehran will respond by targeting the leaders of its Arab neighbors, Kuwait, Bahrain, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia. His exact words: destroy their palaces, take out their intelligence agencies, strike their defense ministries, because those governments, he said, made this war possible. That is an open threat against 4 U.S. allied governments, said out loud, on the record. And while that threat was being issued, Trump quietly pulled 5,000 American soldiers out of a German airbase. Europe didn't flinch. Germany's foreign minister, Poland's foreign minister, others across the continent said the same thing. We expected this. We've already moved on. We're building a stronger Europe without you. Then Russia's former president Medvedev went on state television and gave his reaction. Direct quote, "Watching the collapse of the U.S.-Europe relationship is," and he said this with visible satisfaction, "Russia's victory. It's actually quite amusing to watch Russia on state television, calling it their victory." So let's hold the full picture at once. 17,000 jobs gone. The Iran blockade being routed around in real time. Iran threatening to target America's Arab allies by name. Europe formally writing off the United States. And Russia publicly announcing they are winning. All of it. On the same morning, while the official White House account posted a loop of Trump saying one word for 60 minutes straight: winning, winning, winning.
Citibank to lay off 20,000 employees worldwide by the end of 2026. Now, this is about a month after they moved 1,000 jobs from China to India. And sources also told Bloomberg News that this banking giant was going to cut 3,500 jobs in China in total in this year. Now, this is one of many moves on the global economy where a lot of companies are moving to India specifically for the cheaper labor, the better technology, the better relations. India as a company is very smart in the way that it's set everything up. It's allied with everybody. It's not adversarial with anybody else. It doesn't get involved in any global politics. It doesn't get a lot, in anything to do with wars. It simply stays on the fact that they are there to do business and take care of their own country and make as much money as possible. So it's a very smart practice as far as business is concerned. But this is a big move globally. There's many companies right now. They're just doing a ton of layoffs, guys. And I want to let you know, my opinion is not going to slow down anytime soon. I see them doing more and more layoffs as AI increases. But what do you guys think? Do we have more layoffs coming as we finish up 26 and go into 27? Let me know what you think.
Welcome back to the Freedom Room, your trusted source for news, current events, and thoughtful commentary. Today, we'll be taking a closer look at why so many Americans are struggling to find or keep jobs. Is artificial intelligence replacing workers? Is the economy slowing down? Or are global events making companies more cautious about hiring? In this video, we'll break it all down in a simple and balanced way. First, watch these clips, and when they are over, we'll come back to discuss what they reveal.
Men in America are purposely being locked out of the job market as new data proves that nearly all new jobs are instead going to these other groups. For much of America's history, native-born men made up the largest share of the workforce, but drastic changes in policy over the past few decades have not only reversed this trend, but also unfairly stopped many qualified men from being hired at all, instead giving their positions to these two other groups. The first and also fastest growing group of workers in the US is women. As of the 716,000 new jobs added within the past year, over 89% of those jobs hired women, making them now the biggest workforce in America, overtaking men. And on top of that, with few remaining jobs that are available to men, aren't hiring native-born American men. Instead, they are overwhelmingly going to foreign-born males, with roughly 90% of all U.S. job gains since 2020 given to foreign workers.
I think a good number of people on the committee are concerned about is just the very, very low level of job creation. If you adjust what has been the trend job creation over the past, let's say, 6 months, if you adjust that for what we think, our staff thinks, is the overstatement due to overcounting, effectively there's zero net job creation in the private sector.
Listen, I told you guys it's economic warfare. I gave you guys that heads up last year. Not only were no jobs created in the last 6 months in this economy, in this country, but now we've got over thousands of businesses closing, from Joe's Crab Shack to Noodles and Company to Wendy's to Torchy's to Denny's to Jack in the Box, Popeyes, Smoky Bones, Pete's Coffee, Houlihan's, Cheesecake Factory, Hardee's, Arby's, Red Robin, Pizza Hut, A&W, KFC, Outback Steakhouse. Thousands and thousands of jobs, thousands and thousands of people will be impacted, and thousands of families. So I am Lisa Davis, a trusted banker, and I teach people how to build generational wealth using banking products and services. And what I want you to understand is that with the decrease of jobs being created, no new jobs in the last 3 to 6 months have been created in this country, on top of thousands and thousands of businesses closing and jobs being lost due to this economy. When you start to see jobs being lost, hiring slows down. When hiring slows down, you see people stop spending money in their communities. That means mom and pop shops are going to be impacted because the larger corporations like the Walmart, the Home Depot, whatever, can ride the wave until maybe the economy comes back. We're going to start to see people getting evicted that were living in rentals. We're going to start to see people foreclosing on their homes. We're going to start to see repossessions happen. We're going to see all this trillions and trillions of dollars of consumer debt, credit card debt, consumer debt, personal loans, all kinds of loans that people are carrying. People are going to start to default on.
UPS just announced 30,000 job layoffs in 2026 in the U.S. What? Yes, UPS, the United Parcel Service, just announced 30,000 job layoffs in 2026 and closing 24 service centers. What? Yes. Why would they be doing this? Well, a slowdown in packages, a slowdown in purchasing. Amazon, they say, have slowed quite a bit, and I wonder why they've slowed down. Let's see. Who's in charge of the tariff policy in this country that makes things become more expensive? Who's in charge of the economic policy in the United States now for over a year? Who has seen the economy only grow at a slower and slower and slower pace? Who is in charge? You all tell me.
Dell is laying off 11,000 employees, cutting 10% of their workforce in 2026. 716 warn notices have been filed affecting 85,552 employees as of March 3rd, 2026. This is across 36 states. Warn notices are the layoff website, warntracker.com. In February, 48,307 job cuts. January had a 118% increase. The prior year, January 2025, 435 announced layoffs. Back office and support roles. DC has a 6.7% unemployment rate and rising. California, Nevada, and several other states are in the high 5%. The national average, according to our government, is 4.4%. Most affected: transportation, industrial manufacturing. I'm going to do a separate post on that. Education and technology. Retail, leisure, and hospitality also continue to experience workforce reductions, while healthcare and financial services showed some gains. If you saw my prior post about hundreds and hundreds of restaurants closing, which means thousands of workers will be laid off. 60% of companies in the USA plan on layoffs in 2026. According to Jerome Powell, we've had zero job growth. If you found this post sad but informative.
As you have seen, many businesses are cutting jobs while others are slowing down hiring. AI is helping companies automate certain tasks, but it's not the only reason. Economic uncertainty, higher borrowing costs, and global tension are also affecting hiring decisions. So, what's really driving these layoffs? Is AI creating more opportunities than it's taking away, or are companies moving too quickly? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your opinion. Now let's watch a few more clips and then we'll return with more commentary and analysis.
If you are not struggling financially right now, then you need to consider yourself completely blessed. Like, don't even consider yourself. You are completely blessed. Like, every time I check my local mom group on Facebook, I see requests or people asking where they can get some financial assistance to pay utilities or assistance with rent. And it's concerning because these people are working full-time jobs and they just can't make things work right now. For example, this morning, a woman posted she's an RN working 2 jobs and still is struggling. I know we're all complaining about how expensive things are. For me personally, like, my car insurance doubled in August. I was paying around $140 a month and now I'm paying $280 for 2 vehicles. And I'm one driver. And I have never had a claim. There was no reason for the increase other than they just increased me. On top of that, Florida Power and Light rules the entire state of Florida now. They bought out Gulf Power. And since then, all I ever hear about from people is how astronomical their utility bills are. Everyone is trying to find ways to save money. But as soon as we save money in one area, something else goes up. So it's just kind of like we're sliding this scale back and forth, and it's actually like increasing. We're never saving, no matter how hard we try. Like, I stopped eating out with my kids. Obviously, eating out is super expensive, but I went almost a month no eating out, and it was still a struggle. And if you made it this far, I don't mean this to be like a pity party thing. I'm figuring it out. But last Friday, my birthday, my boss cut my hours in half. So yeah, I guess this is also like a PSA to people who aren't struggling right now. Don't be tone deaf, because you never know what's going on behind the scenes. If you start to notice behavior changes and lifestyle changes, I can promise you it's because people are being proactive, or I don't know, maybe reactive to their financial situation. It's just a mess.
Man, the job shortage in Detroit is something serious. I'm pretty sure it's everywhere, but I'm speaking for Detroit. It's like to the point I done filled out over 300-400 applications on Indeed for pretty much Detroit and every surrounding city. And for some odd reason, nobody is calling me back. Everybody is ghosting me, and I got really good experience. Really good experience. So I'm not really understanding why nobody's really hitting me back like that. And it's like, for the people out there that's dealing with that, man, look, just stay strong and keep doing what you're doing and don't give up. That's the main important part. But it's like a certain someone created this to where it would be a job shortage, and to where everybody, it seemed like, would have to act like animals in order to survive. But if you're in your right mind, ain't nobody trying to get locked up and go to jail, all right?
Class of 2026 high school and college graduates are absolutely fucked in the job market. They're fucked. They're going into a job market where AI is replacing humans. And these greedy, corrupt CEOs of these fucking companies are firing people by the thousands and allowing robots to take over their jobs. Look at all these damn companies that have fired their employees by the thousands because of AI. Oracle, Meta, PayPal, Block, Cisco, Coinbase. And people work at fucking Pinterest got fired because the company wants to use AI. You know what's bad when a shoe company, a fucking shoe company, fires employees by the thousands because of AI. And so far in 2026, 70,000 employees have already been fired because of AI. And expect that number to go up even more, as 45 CEOs have announced layoffs due to AI. So when you have all these people who have worked at big major companies, who have held big title positions in these major companies, all get fired by the thousands, all going back into the job market because they have to keep a roof over their head, food on the table, and clothes on their backs. They have just made the job market 100 times more harder with people who have years of experience in these major roles than somebody coming out of college with no experience. And what the fuck do these companies want you or expect you to have? Work experience. Well, how the fuck you gonna have work experience from somebody who used to work at Google as an IT tech director and all of a sudden is applying for a fucking Walmart or McDonald's job as a cashier? And because these jobs are not hiring, they're doing more of the firing than hiring because of AI. You have well overqualified employees that are doing minimum wage jobs. So how the fuck do you expect somebody who went to school for tech, IT, something in computers, and they got to compete with all these thousands of employees that were fired at other major prestige companies holding major prestigious roles? And now your degree that you spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to get now becomes completely useless. And you're working at a job that you didn't fucking go to school for. I don't want to hear nobody mention, oh, well, that's why you have to get something that's AI proof. Bro, they're fucking targeting and going after every fucking industry. Hell, even in health, which people see as quote unquote AI proof, that's not the fucking case. Research shows that 22% of the healthcare organizations have implemented domain-specific AI tools, a 7% increase over 2024. Hell, even in the medical field, which people see quote-unquote as AI proof, that's not the fucking case. Do y'all see what's going on? They do not want you guys to work. They want y'all to completely depend on the corrupt, greedy-ass government to put food on the table, a roof over your head, and clothes on your backs. They don't want y'all to own and have nothing, and they want you to sit there, take it, and smile. So it doesn't matter what type of field or industry you in, whether it's truck driving, bus driving, custodial work, they're trying to take over that and replace you with a fucking robot. Like, look at these numbers. 6,000 people who used to work at HP no longer have a job. Look at these numbers. Over 100,000 people were fired because of AI in 2025. We're not even half the year in 2026, and that number's already at 70,000. And I'm telling y'all, this has been a systematic takeover. They don't want people to work or have nothing at all. So instead of always coming on here and talk about 50-50, dating, relationships, music, entertainment, which is all good and fun, we need to be talking and attacking the major issues like this. AI is ruining the workforce. The government is taking away our fucking rights. And these crooked, corrupt CEOs gotta fucking go. We're living in very dangerous and treacherous times. The longer we wait to respond and retaliate, the worse it's gonna get.
The economy is at a very interesting crossroads, to say the least. Prices are too high, the labor market is not doing well, but we are seeing AI and other tech stocks floating like they're on air. And what if I were to tell you part of the reason why the economy feels so weird right now is because we are at the convergence of 4 major historical events economically in our nation's history. And that is unusual, right? Usually when we're talking about economics, we're focusing on one thing, but we are now in this period in 2026 focusing on 4 unique threats all combining into one. The first is the rise of protectionism and protectionist policies. We saw this in the 1930s with the passage of the Smoot-Hawley tariff, which increased import duties by about 60%, and it's widely believed that this exacerbated the Great Depression. Fast forward to 2024 and 2025, we have seen tariffs being implemented on a wide variety of goods. And while the average 9 to 10% tariff rate that we are currently facing now is not as high as it was during Smoot-Hawley, we are seeing some of the implications of instituting a tariff like this, including rising prices and hurting output. Those are instances of small supply shocks that over time harm the economy. Now, speaking of supply shocks, we are also seeing a very similar economic pattern to the stagflation in the 1970s. And I've made videos about this before.
We hope the clips have given you a clearer picture of what's happening in today's job market, why technology continues to reshape the workspace. Economic challenges and global events are also playing a major role. The future of workers is changing rapidly, and staying informed has never been more important. What do you think is the biggest reason behind today's job losses? Let us know in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe to the Freedom Room, share this video with others, and turn on the notification so you never miss our latest news and commentary. This version is conceived